I'm not just gonna stand here and wait. I wanna just decide what is to be my fate. All alone by myself, I'm not just gonna stay here and wait.
Good morning, everybody. Parsons, this is just for you. There is Miss Olive sitting right there. You can barely see her, but yes, Miss Olive is on the screen, and now she's decided to leave. So you've had her for a whole 30 seconds. She sat through the whole opening. So yeah. Anywho. Good morning and welcome back. How the hell are you, Burbo?
I'm okay. How you doing, Jim?
It's been a couple of days, hasn't it, since we've been live?
It has. It's been...
Yes.
No. I mean, weren't we live yesterday?
We were live on it wasn't on the newscast, though. We haven't done the newscast in a couple of days.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, hello, Fonda. Hello, Facebook Karen. How are you?
Hello, Facebook.
Yes. We've got a lot to get through today. Due to lack of news yesterday, we do have 2 GoFundMes to go through, but they're pretty informational, even if they use Social Blade stats. Yeah. So...
take the Social Blade stats with a grain of salt. We all know there's...
Mrs. Tom, we're waiting for news. My mom went down to see my godmother. So, yeah, we're waiting for news. As of last night, she had the first brain surgery. She came out, was not conscious yet, but she was responding when they were asking her questions. You know, she was responding to the voices, but not coherently. She's going to need more brain surgery next week, it looks like. And then a whole hell of a lot of rehab if she survives it. So, thoughts and prayers, all of that. She's a devout Catholic, so all of that counts for her. So, if anyone has them, please share them. Anyway, let's go ahead.
So, may the odds be ever in her favor.
Yes. But let's jump into this disturbing Chile DeCastro picture first. GoFundMe, DeCastro beats LIA again. A rare single $50 donation to his Justice for All Legal Battle for Accountability Fund won the day for Jose Chile DeCastro, beating out our own hate viewers' donation of $10 and totally dominating the $0.00 take of rival Sean Paul Long Island Audit Reyes. Reyes, of course, isn't aware of this rivalry, but the one-for-one I'm a better auditor than that guy rants by DeCastro over the years have established that Long Island audits, and perhaps lackluster, will be crushed by the power, the glory, and the sheer machismo of Jose Chile DeCastro. Or maybe not. Right now, Long Island Audit has about 200,000 more subscribers than DeCastro. It's really a meaningless number with the accusations against DeCastro's mysterious subscriber growth, but in the past PP-wee-wee rant, DeCastro said he was on a path to crush Long Island Audit to be the biggest auditor on the planet. It's not quite happening. According to Social Blade, DeCastro has picked up 17,000 new subscribers in the past 30 days to Long Island Audit's 21,000 new subscribers. DeCastro at the disadvantage there because he was in jail for part of the month, but at the same time, their daily and weekly averages of new subscribers aren't too far off. purchased shorts or what have you. DeCastro has the advantage of sheer number of videos released across shorts, regular videos, and live streams. He has 2,796 uploads to 285,572,100 video views, against Long Island Audit's 824 videos and 365,302,841 video views. Mind you, DeCastro had the advantage of having an extra year to work with, as Long Island Audit brightened our world with the creation of his channel on March 8, 2021, while DeCastro's channel came into the world on July 28, 2020. But it doesn't seem to have helped in the comparison, as Long Island Audit's sheer volume of video views crushes DeCastro in every aspect. Earning-wise, well, let's just say that DeCastro can't compare, at least not right now. Social Blade says DeCastro will make between $3,800 and $60,900 a month, and between $45,700 and $730,600 for the year off of YouTube revenue. We now know why Long Island Audit can go out and buy a billboard truck without batting an eye. Social Blade says he's making between $6,600 and $106,400 a month, and between $79,800 and $1,300,000 a year off of YouTube revenue. Merchandise-wise, Long Island Audit offers t-shirts, hats, and normal things you'd see in a merchandise store run by a third-party print-on-demand shop. DeCastro offers, well, a poster, a book, his 5A cop card, both digital and physical, trifolds, both digital and physical, and not much else. You're not going to see people walking around in a DeCastro-style t-shirt right now, as they're gone from his marketplace. DeCastro scores a point, as most of us know the names of his biggest supporters: Gloria, Cope Dog, Jeff Hates Pigs, etc. His chat and comments are slow enough to figure out his mods and his friends. With between 200 and 600 people at his daily infomercials, it's pretty easy to pick out the who's who in the community. Long Island Audits doesn't have the same sense of community, and he draws over 7,000 people to his streams, and the chat scrolls so fast that if there's an established community, you'll never see it or keep up with it. The biggest thing holding back DeCastro is that he's lost his mojo for a while now. He's so afraid of going back to jail, and afraid of going to jail before that he no longer does audits. He no longer goes looking for trouble either. He's gotten safe and stale, unwilling to bust his ass for anything more than his 3-hour infomercials where he reacts to somebody else's content. While Long Island Audits occasionally looks at others' content, his bread and butter is auditing. He has no fear of being arrested, and he often plans his arrest around lawsuits he intends to file to make money. He also runs a tight ship, and frankly, if auditing was a profession, DeCastro still has a lot to learn from Long Island Audits. Not that we're endorsing him, but out of the two, Long Island Audits at this time wins the title of better auditor by sheer volume alone. DeCastro will never surpass him to become the world's greatest auditor until he gets over his fears and goes out into the street again to produce original content. $50 today made him a winner. Long Island Audits didn't pull in any GoFundMe donations, but if he's earning over $1 million a year from YouTube, does he really need the $50? Things to think about. Since we're not yet monetized, if you'd like to join our daily hate watcher in making us question the existence of pie, we do have a GoFundMe of our own. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here and on reallycoolsite.org. Yeah, I know there was Social Blade status, but LIA is making far more money than Chili ever could.
Oh yeah, no, LA has been established for a few years now, is making a solid income. I would think he's at least pocketing $150,000 a year on top of whatever he needs to make to reinvest into the channel.
I think it's higher than that. It's a couple of 100,000s a year. That range is pretty general for Social Blade, I will say with our stats, they're getting them right because we are so low right now. Though they do say we're going to make $500 for the year, even though we're not monetized.
Ooh.
So, yes.
Fancy. Very
500
fancy.
bucks, baby. Yeah. Ugh.
Make it rain. Just make it rain right
Make
on the
it
olive.
rain. Oh, Lord. Let's go into the next disturbing video, which was created just for Westboro Wes, as he's been making comments lately. GoFundMe, no winners in war. Again. I mean, come on, look at that. That's just for Westboro Wes.
I mean, it's... Oh, it reminds me of the sea anemone. That's where my mind's at.
Unfortunately, in the new program, I can't bring over the afro, so the clown's gonna have to have a new haircut. But it'll be just as disturbing. Jose Chile DeCastro, Sean Paul, Long Island Audit Riaz, and our own ongoing expenses fund were among the group of losers competing for the GoFundMe crown on Thursday, with the winner ultimately going to Goose Eggs. Despite new videos by LIA and DeCastro, we had the day off due to a lack of news. There was no action in the market, leaving everyone a loser for the day. For some funds, it was business as usual, but our usual big red flag waving comes with DeCastro's funds, as he claims he needs them the most. Yesterday, you heard a comparison between DeCastro and Long Island Audit, where we proclaimed, without endorsing anything about his channel, Long Island Audit the victor and better auditing channel based on sheer metrics and money coming in. It's true, Long Island Audit probably has more money in his couch cushions or his navel than DeCastro has in his whole world. DeCastro also has much more to lose. While Long Island Audit is facing criminal charges, he's in no danger of actually going to jail, while DeCastro himself is fighting tooth and nail to keep his freedom and to punish those who have wronged him. Remember that Long Island Audit has his petty vendettas and his money-making vendettas. If you believe him, instead of life, liberty, and the overall belief in the Constitution, the vast majority of his targets are for go-away money, quick dismissals, and pocketing of some quick ducats from otherwise easy targets. There's no real risk for the reward, but it's built the empire for Long Island Audit and will continue to fund him, as there's always going to be a corrupt cop in the New York area for him to exploit, sue, and live off like the world's biggest tick. DeCastro, on the other hand, has a history of playing the long shots and devoting his time to petty revenge that earned him nothing. We go back to the Kate Peter and Josh Abrams situation. The YouTuber was out for blood, not for victory, not for financial gain. He wanted to wipe Kate Peter off of the internet and expended nearly a year of his time to a lawsuit that literally went nowhere. He realized this early and tried to pivot to a lawsuit against YouTube itself, and all it really gained him was all the free publicity he used to get from criticism videos went by the wayside because he struck everyone who used his content to criticize him into oblivion. Yes, Mr. Freedom of the Press struck everyone to stifle their speech because he didn't like criticism. Without the showcase of criticism from literally dozens of channels saying his name and spreading the word about him every night, his own actions made him a lolcow and cost him the free advertising and growth within the 1A community. As of right now, we're one of the main channels that goes out of their way to cover DeCastro on a regular basis. Our context for covering him is news, and we don't use his content, so attempts to silence us will have to come through other means if it happens. But again, would it be worth it? Long Island Audits doesn't do it. He tends to embrace free advertising and not change course. Again, not an endorsement, but another wise way to maintain the course without self-destructing or going against the very philosophies that you claim to stand for. Since we're not monetized, if you'd like to join our daily hate watcher making us stand for hours to defend our principles, we do have a GoFundMe of our own. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here and on reallycoolsite.org. There you go. Another follow-up.
I wonder if Chile is ever going to come out with his board game, though. And I would like to watch people try to play that board game.
Now remember, it's not just a board game, it's a wall game. You have to put the board up on your wall. So you're going to have to attach this to your wall somehow. And that's how it's played. So I'm not
so
thinking...
ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have the big timeline or something across your wall. And number one, who the hell has a wall open like that? I think the only place in the living room I have open is, like, if I were to take the TV down, then you'd have space for a wall game. You know, you move the TV to the floor, maybe you have space.
I don't know, man. It's going to, like, go on, like, garage doors or something. Like, it's...
Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes.
I don't know, man. I wrote a murder mystery dinner some years ago, and I looked into getting it, you know, put into distribution, right? Like it's not a bad game. I like the artwork and stuff I did on it, and I talked to a few people, and some people were interested, you know, some seed money kind of stuff if I wanted to go forward with it, and it was going to take like 6 months to come over from China after like initial printing and that kind of stuff. I wasn't doing a full, like they weren't fully putting everything together and assembling it. I was going to do a ton of the assembly on my own and bits and pieces and all that kind of stuff, right? It was upwards of $20,000. I can't remember the exact number, but it was almost $20,000 to get everything established, to get all the, you know, the dies done and all that kind of stuff. Like 6 months to come over, and that's with a bunch of work on my own. A bunch of work. I just don't see Chili going through all of that. I just don't see it, and I don't see him having enough money to get a fully assembled product in the box ready to go shipped out from China.
Let alone for Christmas. Let alone for Christmas this year.
No, absolutely not.
And this one is just for Westboro West. Let's go on the next one. Regan Benson alleges racial profiling. Regan Benson livestreamed Thursday night from the Englewood Police Department and made new allegations. And yes, we tried something new with the subtitles or the titles on the screen, and it's not working. So we'll go back to the old way tomorrow. They're just like it's frozen right now, then suddenly it will catch up and then be fine for the rest of it. Yeah. But yeah, we'll go back to the old way next time. That the Englewood police racially profiled 3 black men who were trespassed from a King Soopers grocery store in Englewood. Benson said that as part of her new duties as unofficial police monitor in Englewood, she came across a scene in a Walmart parking lot last Friday where multiple police officers were surrounding 3 black men. The YouTuber got out of her car and began to engage with one of the men, who she thought was a minor, who gave her a thumbs up that the police were treating them okay. She later met with the men and watched footage provided by the men of the encounter inside the nearby King Soopers that caused the interaction with police. The men, 2 aged 18 and 1 19, claimed that they were selling candy outside of the King Soopers grocery store when they were told to leave the private property by security. Things allegedly escalated on the part of the security guard, and the security guard allegedly threatened to pepper spray the 3 men if they did not leave the property. According to the police report obtained by Benson during the broadcast, police arrived at the King Soopers and the manager asked the police to trespass the men who had already left the property. The police found the men in a nearby Walmart parking lot and asked them to identify. 2 of the men had no identification, and a third was identified as having a warrant out of Florida. The men did not have identification from any schools or affiliation with charities in the area, and it's unclear if they were affiliated with a charity that was running a campaign to sell candy in Englewood. As police could not identify 2 of the 3 men, they were fingerprinted, and photos were taken as part of the identification process, and all 3 men were released with a notice not to return to the King Soopers. In Benson's exaggerated version of events, the men were about to be arrested even though police admitted that they did not have probable cause until she arrived on the scene and intervened. The corrupt Englewood police simply saw her on the scene and stopped what they were doing because they knew that she would stop their illegal enforcement of the law. Benson then demanded a citizens' review board be established in Englewood, which would have oversight into any of the issues that she and others investigated, and to handle complaints in the aftermath of Englewood Police Chief supposed resigning in disgrace. Watson announced his retirement earlier this month. His last day will be September 22, 2024. No replacement has been announced as of press time. So, another Regan Benson playing Batman. That's...
Batman? What?
Well, she literally is like the Batman to these corrupt police officers. She's always there, always monitoring, driving through the neighborhood. And just a reminder, she does not live in Englewood. She lives an hour away in a rich community. She apparently has a backyard that she could at least put up 5 tents back there if she really wanted to house the homeless somewhere. I mean, the description of her backyard is like huge. So
Palatial.
Why is she always in frickin' Englewood? It's nuts.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that she lived an inconvenient commute away and is like slumming it. Is that what she's doing? Like is she LARPing, being like a different person than she is?
She's obsessed. It goes back to them not letting her into those goddamn 3rd floor bathrooms. The employees only. She's been obsessed
really weird.
With Englewood since that day.
I mean, it's probably just coincidence that the man retired, but honestly, she's enough to make everybody want to retire early. She's that awful and relentless.
She's decided she's going to make Englewood pay. And right now, with Frauditor Troll being involved, she's going after Frauditor Troll again for being a Canadian and a communist. And the Englewood dispatchers are in cahoots with a foreign national to drum up these charges against her. And it's like, what?
When do the Mounties get involved? Like,
I know.
It's corrupt Mounties, maybe coming in on a horse, maybe.
It's getting weirder and weirder. And then she brings up the letter she originally had said that was written by Kate or Kate's group back in the day that threatened her life and threatened the life of DMA. But the news story the other week was do you remember that? It was last year. It was a literal death threat to use Kate's channel, specifically Kate's channel. Kate was going to go live and air her social security number, her name, her address, all this stuff.
Oh my God. I guarantee, one, Kate did not write that letter, and two, that wasn't on the table ever.
No, but this
wasn't on the table.
They were using it against Kate, and then this idiot, she literally reads it to the Englewood City Council the other week and says she got it because of her protests here in front of the council. And it was someone from the council who was going to do this to her, when really it was nearly 2 years old, and it was a letter she accused Kate of sending. So she's lying her freaking ass off. Yeah, it's weird. You can't trust a damn word she's saying. And as Westboro West is just going on and on, I'm going to give him another video just for him. What do you think? That one we saw before in pre-show?
Ooh, press play.
DeCastro attacks police in latest live stream. Despite claiming that he wanted to be more electable, Jose Chile DeCastro launched into multiple attacks on law enforcement during his 3.5-hour-long live stream Thursday night. DeCastro claimed that he was a leader of a movement that was growing every day, as it was now more than just black people who hated the police. He was unifying forces against police as they acted inappropriately against everyone, and that everyone hated them equally in this movement. The live stream, which had been viewed 11,813 times, had 1,200 likes and 155 comments as of press time, saw DeCastro attempt to tone down his rhetoric at times where he would refuse to call police pigs, but then would see the YouTuber get upset and fall back into the use of pigs as part of his accusations against police activities. DeCastro also has now begun using the term slave cuffs at times instead of torture cuffs for his description of handcuffs. This came during his review of an old interview by Sheriff David Clark in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, that was aired on CNN, which recently made rounds in the 1A auditing community. Clark, who is black, upset DeCastro with his defense of the law and his apparent betrayal of members of his own race by backing corrupt police policies and procedures designated to enslave Americans. Addressing criticism of his crying at an appeals court hearing earlier in the year, DeCastro had claimed that he was locked in the hole for 5 days before the hearing and was only told that he was being released from the hole moments before being taken to court. He explained that upon seeing humans for the first time in days, he started crying and continued to cry throughout the hearing and didn't stop until he was returned to jail later that day. He denied faking the episode and said the tears were uncontrollable. The YouTuber ended his live stream with news that customers who did not receive orders while he was incarcerated should email him directly, and he was now extensively working out to take off the weight that he put on while in jail. So,
is that the time he was crying and his face was just dry? Where he was it was like shoulders and like looking down, sad puppy looking down.
Yeah, it was the second Zimmerman when he was just bawling his eyes out, allegedly. Someone in chat had said, you were faking that. He was like, no, it's real. I was real tears. Real tears. Yes. Real tears. So
yeah, we watched it. It was weird. Dry-faced, no red nose, no red eyes. Okay, Chili.
But because he hadn't seen humans in days. He needed that human touch.
The guards aren't humans. Whoever delivered his food isn't a human. Whatever medical checks he needed because his stupid blood pressure, they're not humans. Okay. All right.
It's not human, yeah. They're all horrible, horrible people. But we have one more left, and then we're out of here. And it's not... I didn't do a week in review, or this day in history. I ran out of time. So, one last story, and it's a breaking news story from earlier. DeCastro avoids case dismissal? Jose Chile DeCastro's string of failures in regard to his activities in Ironton, Ohio 2 years ago may be coming to an end as he filed a last-minute request to extend time to serve defendants in his case against the police in Ironton, Ohio, which he filed in Nevada. DeCastro originally filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Ironton, Ohio, and various defendants 2 years ago. He alleged a number of things, but never got around to actually stating a claim against any of the defendants. After multiple missed deadlines and DeCastro's apparent intention to stretch the case out as long as possible, it was originally dismissed in late 2022, but then revived after DeCastro's late filing to a final deadline was accepted. It again lingered for months, with DeCastro refusing to state what anyone had done in the case or make a coherent legal argument. It was then dismissed with prejudice last fall. DeCastro immediately appealed and lost the appeal last month when the appeals court finally reaffirmed the lower court ruling and dismissed the case. In March of this year, DeCastro refiled the same case in Nevada, federal, and state-level courts against the same defendants, alleging that Nevada was now the proper place for the lawsuits as he resides there, and his fans who buy his products also reside there. The lawsuits were filed prior to DeCastro's March incarceration, which he claims prevented him from serving the defendants. The federal suit has since given notice that DeCastro's claims would be dismissed if he did not show proof of service or an indication as to why he could not serve the defendants in the case by July 27, 2024. DeCastro's reply, written on July 25th but filed on July 26th, the day before the deadline, indicates that DeCastro was unable to serve the defendants because he's been in jail, and that upon release from jail, he has been unable to skip trace the defendants in order to hire a process server. He also claims that he never received a notice from the court last month that the case would be dismissed, again stating that he only learned of the notice on July 25th, 2024. In the filing, DeCastro admitted that some of his claims against the defendants would be dismissed with prejudice due to the 2-year statute of limitations. DeCastro does not mention, however, that the entire case was dismissed with prejudice as the Ohio court's ruling was upheld on appeal. This is a breaking news story. So, yes, Chili says he never got notice of, number one, when they threatened him with dismissal. That was 2 months ago. And then a month ago when they said, look, you've got 30 days to respond. If you don't, then it's done. And yeah, yes, he was in jail. Yes, it may be an excuse. But why didn't he respond to the court earlier? Seriously, it's one of those things where you scratch your head, because Chili got his mail. Chili also could have looked at Pacer or Court Listener. There were articles.
Did he have access to
articles
that?
on it. Once he got home, he's been out since the 11th. So he's had 2 weeks now to do anything, but he waited to the last day because he supposedly just found out about it. And it's BS. It's more BS on Chili's part.
Well, I think it's been an ongoing problem for, the last year or so, where he's kind of overwhelmed at the numbers of deadlines and court dates and everything that he needs to do with all these cases that he has spread out everywhere. It's hard for him to keep up. And although he does coin himself as a law scholar, he's terrible at writing all this stuff and explaining anything. But we've all gotten a primer in court stuff, language, court procedure. When you file motions, like, do they replace the other one? Are they supplemental? All that kind of stuff.
Right.
Where some of it wasn't clear to some of us, because we're just court watchers. We're not legal professionals. We pick up what we pick up. But he's given us an opportunity to see some of the intricacies and how things can be interpreted a couple different ways. And sometimes we sit here going, I wonder how the court is going to rule on that.
Right.
And that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. He has given us an education, but not via his base of knowledge.
No. And he's pro se in this one, too. He has not hired... Right. He's hired a lawyer for every other one except this one. So, it's going to be interesting if they actually grant this one to him.
Right. And would it be really worth it to hire a lawyer for this one at this point? I mean, it's going to die. It's clearly going to die.
It just wouldn't be worth it. The actual case has been dismissed with prejudice in Ohio.
Right.
So now it wasn't it was dismissed with prejudice at the time he filed it too, but it was under appeal.
Right. And that's another fun term, Judas, right? Where
Right.
raised juris, where it's already been ruled on. The same idea, concept, problem has already been ruled on somewhere else, and you take that ruling, bring it to the current court, and say, hey, listen, this has already been looked after. Like, this has already been done with. Do we need to do this again?
And yes, Rose, it's Olive. Yes, we're on Olive watch. But yeah, and not only did he file it again on the federal level, he filed it in state court in Nevada. So he's got two versions of the same case, just blanketing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's Chili DeCastro. He's our new number one, and he is Westboro West's number one guy. His crush.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's get out of here. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody.
Good night.